When you focus on the prize, you're focused on the right thing. By staying focused on the prize, it allows you to be able to kind of shuffle through a lot of the nonsense that you're going to see on a daily basis. People that are going to distract you, draw your attention away, things that just don't exactly go the way you had hoped, or even maybe the timeline that is taking longer than you would have expected. But if you focus on the prize, you're going to be able to get the results that you want. Today we're going to focus on Patricia Bath. She is known as the first person to perfect Laserphaco. And what that is it's a cataract surgery where you remove the cataract using lasers. The first person to ever do that. As a black woman in the medical field, she faced issues that most other professionals wouldn't have had to deal with. And there are 5 takeaways that she gives us, and we're going to explore those as ways for you to be able to change your life. The first way is you're going to have to be curious. And curiosity, it's seen in a lot of different ways, but when it really comes to the base of it, curiosity is this idea, is this understanding that the way things are doesn't necessarily have to be the way that things are going to be in the future. So for me, you know that my focus is on ensuring that black wealth doesn't hit zero by the year 2053. And my curiosity has led me to lots of influential, very talented people where I'm learning and I'm exploring different avenues that can help us to create more opportunities. Opportunities, I have found, is the one thing that each of us are striving for. Now, there are some people that have accepted some opportunities are available, and that may be in entertainment or that may be in sports. But I have come to understand that there are a variety of opportunities. We just haven't carved the path quite as clear as some of these other opportunities that we do take advantage of. So as my curiosity expands, I am learning more and more and more. And so we're trying to recognize some of the patterns, some of the techniques that they have used and that they share as keys to their success that we can implement in our life. So you want to make sure you're curious because it allows you to be able to say, I'm going to see if there is a better way to do this. That even though this is the way things have always been done in the past, it doesn't mean that that's the way things always have to be. And you're going to want to have that curiosity because it's going to have you constantly reevaluating a situation where maybe someone is a little curious. They may check once or twice, but they're not going to be as consistent as necessary. You've often heard the many stories about how everything from the circus, how they teach the elephant that it is not as big and strong as it is by tying it to a rope when it is a baby. And as a baby, it learns that it is unable to pull itself from this rope tied to a stake in the ground. And so by the time it becomes a large elephant, that it has no desire to even test the rope anymore. It has accepted reality for the way that it perceived reality when it was younger. But if the elephant was just a little curious, it would check that rope every so often, which would then have helped the elephant to realize, you know what? I'm a little bit stronger than I was before. I'm a little bit smarter than I was before. I have the strength to be able to change my life and my circumstances. Most people, what they have been conditioned over time, they allow that to be their reality for the rest of their life. And it doesn't necessarily have to be that way. Patricia Bath, being a woman and a black woman entering the medical field, that was something that was just not happening. You can actually see a lot of the photos where she is the only woman and she's the only woman of color or the only person of color consistently throughout it. And it's because a lot of blacks at that time had been conditioned to the understanding that this is just not an avenue that they can explore. There are no opportunities available for them in the medical industry. And to bring this point home, as I mentioned, Patricia Bath's perfection of using lasers to remove cataracts over the eyes, which in case you're wondering, it's just kind of the little glaze, a little fog over the eye where they can actually use lasers to peel that off. That was the first patent of medicine given to a black woman. The second thing Dr. Bath recommends is for us to make sure that we're focused on the prize. She talks about some of the rules that were in place and that she could have marched against some of those things. She could have focused on the problem, but instead she focused on the prize. Why was she there? What was she striving for? What opportunity was she trying to create Too often we're focused not on the results that we want to get, but on how difficult the process may be, how unfair the process may be. And while things may be unfair, while things may be easier for someone else, while you may have to do things that you should not have to do, that's what you got to do to get the result that you want. And it's very important. You'll find the most successful black millionaires, billionaires among us, they focus on the prize. What is it that I am trying to accomplish in this lifetime? What is it that I am striving to do? And what is the best way for me to get there? Does that mean that I have to move here? Does it mean that I have to take these different positions that someone else could just start a level above me? That may be true all across the board. But what is the prize that you want? Too often when we focus on some of the issues, I'm not saying all of them, there are some things where you should have a line in the sand where simply if this happens, then I will not tolerate this for a moment. There is a standard that you should hold yourself to. But what Patricia is talking about, she's actually talking about things that are not right, but they're also not hindering you. So in her example, she talks about how there just weren't any women at the time in the medicine that had the position that she had. And at that time, they gave the office based on the type of work that you did. But because she was a woman and the other doctor in her same field was a man, they put her with the other women that were secretaries. And so she was in a much smaller office with all the secretaries. She should have had a much larger office. That was something that she did not allow to impact her on her path towards her greatness as she was striving towards something that she knew was deep inside of her. Number 3, it's important to know that everyone is not going to celebrate your success. And there's going to be a variety of reasons. We're not really going to get into those because, as you know, it's very important to focus on the solution and not the problem. But don't allow some naysayers, people who are invested in your failure, to detract your ability to succeed, to take away the joy that you would feel when you finally have conquered that mountain and climbed over it. It's okay. Everybody isn't going to be excited about what you did because everybody wasn't rooting for you when you started. And that's not a surprise to you. I'm sure you already know several people who have told you that you're not good enough, that it's not going to work, and that you need to just be thankful for where you're at. Stop trying to do more. Stop trying to chase this and to achieve that. Just settle and be comfortable where you're at. That's good enough for me. That's good enough for you. And now, while they may not say that last line, that is often what they're really saying. They're saying, why can't you just be more like me? I'm very comfortable in my life and I don't have everything that I want. And why are you making such a big deal about this stuff? When Dr. Bath had her medical breakthrough, she said that the head doctor was not excited for her, that he was bothered. And there was 2 reasons for that. One, what clearly had to have been his perception of a woman of color, or just a woman, or just a person of color, versus his own perception of himself. The second would be maybe just the way that he feels because of your success. Now, he just may be someone that's very competitive, and he just thinks, I'm the best doctor here, so I should be the one to have such a breakthrough. And it doesn't matter what the other doctor looked like, I'm going to feel a certain way about it. And that's also possible. So it's either the way that he perceives himself or it's the way that he perceived Dr. Bath. But either way, he could not bring himself to be excited about her accomplishment. Even though it was going to change the lives of millions of people for the better, all he could think about in that moment was how it changed his life for a perceived worse. And that's really, for me, that's all I have to know about someone. If you know that something is going to benefit a large group of people, but you're just stuck on the fact that it's not your glory, that your name's not first, or you don't get all the accolades, or whatever the issue is, then we already have more than enough issues, because that, to me, that just doesn't make sense, right? We should be focusing on what we can do to make the world better for the next generation, for people that we love and we care about. To me, that's the ultimate goal. It has nothing to do with who gets the trophy and who gets the awards and the accolades. It's about how much better could we leave this world than we found it. And so that's really what the goal often should be, and it gets lost at times. Number 4 is success creates future opportunities for people who look like you. It's very important for our community to have positive representation of themselves, Too often you see when you're looking at the news and different portrayals, there's always the negative stories. It's very important that whenever we're able to shine a spotlight, it helps to create in other people's minds, hey, I could be a doctor, I could be an astronaut, I can be a physicist, I can be whatever I want. Unfortunately, the spotlight too often is shown through a negative lens where the focus is on the 2% that is doing things wrong and not the 98% who are doing incredible things. We have to be able to find those people who are being exceptional, who are striving, who are creating new paths to allow our next generation to imagine themselves doing it. Dr. Bath knew that that was something that she was also working towards. She wanted other women of color, other people of color, to understand that this is not an industry that excludes you. It's one that you can get in. It doesn't mean that everything's going to be fair, everything's going to be right, and everything's going to be rainbows and skittles, but it does mean that you can come in here, you can learn this craft, and then you can change the world for the better. And it's very important to understand that sometimes we have to make the initial sacrifice, but we're doing it for the benefit of the whole. As we gather the information, as we have the compassion to reinvest in our community, is going to push us further in the right direction. And so it's very important that you don't become short-sighted where you allow someone to discourage you from even trying. And I understand that a lot of the opportunities that we see has to do with sports, entertainment, and I believe we are incredible at that. In that, yes, in sports you often find that racism isn't as big of a role, that is usually the best person, but it doesn't mean that it's excluded. It's just that we have created this mindset that I can overcome that. And what I'm saying is we need to create that mindset in all industries, in all avenues, and in all situations. It is possible, if to those who believe it is, and that leads us into number 5. Dr. Patricia Bath said she had no doubt in herself at any point in time. She said that while things may have been bleak, while things may have been difficult, while she may have felt every time she took one step up, it was like 2 steps back, she never doubted her ability to get the prize that she was focusing on. And if you are wanting to change your life, then you have to make sure that you have the belief that you can do it. And the belief that you can do it is very important because the path is riddled with failure. It's riddled with disappointment and challenges. It's going to be people that you thought were on your side, that were advocates for you, and they just let you down in some way or another. If you don't have that belief in yourself, then it is going to be something that is going to cause you to stop along the way. You'll find in these stories of these successful black millionaires and billionaires that not only did they overcome the systemic issues, they also had to overcome different hurdles that they faced internally. Because at some point, we're all faced with the question, is this even worth all this? Maybe it would just make sense for me to get a regular job. Maybe it would make sense for me to let some of my ambitions go. Maybe I'm not meant to be able to do this, but I have come to appreciate the journey and the success. And I'll tell you that they all had that belief that they could do it. They did not doubt themselves. They knew that if they couldn't get there today, that they could learn something tomorrow that would get them there the next day after that. And as long as you have that understanding that there is something out there that I can learn, or I can add and complement, or someone I can network with or do a joint venture with, there is a way for me to create the world that I'm trying to create, the success that I want to create in my life, that there is a way to do that. And if you're going to change your life for the better in a positive way, then you have to have that belief and you have to be committed to doing that. And when you do that, amazing things will happen, as we've seen with Dr. Patricia Bath's life. And she's still doing amazing work today where she's helping and she's reinvesting and she's giving to her community and helping to create more opportunities, because that's really what we're all after. We all just want the opportunity so that we're able to live that life that we have inside, whether that life has to do with how we take care of our kids and educate them, where we live at, where we work at, or just how we want to live out our life and the legacy we want to build. We're all just looking to create opportunities. And if you're interested in being ready for your next $1 million opportunity, I do invite you to go to forecasthope.com/opportunity. There you can download the Lifetime Millionaire Success Blueprint, and that will give you a 8-step process that you can implement in your life to be able to achieve financial freedom and to create a millionaire lifestyle. Until next time, I'm Dre. I'm always thankful for your time. If you've enjoyed this, please subscribe. I do appreciate you guys' love. Until next time, continue blessings on your journey to become the champion of your dream life. And as always, better self, better wealth.